Good morning, Innovate AT community. Today we have a special guest. We're interviewing Matt Shade with Independence Planning Group. Matt has been an athletic trainer, still is a certified athletic trainer, and I think you're probably still doing a little bit of work here and there just to support the local community and stay engaged. And the reason I wanted Matt to be part of our discussions for you as a community is he really brings a unique perspective. He's been one of us. He's been in the trenches. He's been on the sidelines. He's been to all of our conferences. And now he has taken another professional step into the financial planning world to really understand how the athletic trainer can leverage their own experience and their own career for their future financial independence. So he's going to really give us some good insight. He's been doing a lot of talks around the country. We're excited to have Matt and IPG really be part of the Innovate AT model. So Matt, welcome, and give everybody a quick little introduction about yourself and why you're excited to speak today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Adam. And, as an athletic trainer, I've learned throughout my career practicing for about 15 years that there's a lot of information that we're not provided as athletic trainers when it comes to finances. And through my experiences, my personal setbacks, I've made it my personal mission to really help athletic trainers figure out what they need to be doing. And it's primarily educationally based information that we provide, and also providing interactive tools and resources that you learn by doing, and to start taking small steps. But when life happens, we're prepared for it. So
that's good. You mentioned one thing about athletic trainers aren't taught, or it's not part of our education system, and we're all aware of that. But I'm pretty adamant about the fact that our education system can't teach everything. It's impossible, right? Every discipline and every industry has to focus on the core competencies to be a professional in that regard. And the reason I present it in that fashion, because you are part of now a financial firm and you're working with probably other professionals in other industries, is what you've experienced in the athletic training field similar to other fields, to where you're working with professionals and they have a limited knowledge base about financial planning, that it's not just quote unquote an athletic training problem, it's just an industry, specific?
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, because even in the financial world, right, there's specialties. And a lot of times, as athletic trainers, when we have an athlete who's injured, we send them to a specialist. It's a shoulder doc, a knee doc, hand and foot, whatever it may be. And in the financial world, I learned the hard way, but there's guys who are just investment based. There's guys who are just protection based. But how does it all tie together? And that's one thing that I've developed a team of specialists. And depending on what you need, there's a specialist for you. And kind of going back to my story, in 2006, I graduated college, I got married, I bought my first house, and I got my first job all within 3 months. And at the time, I really didn't know what I didn't know. And my first job was a 1099 independent contractor at a high school as the head athletic trainer. And therefore, when I went to buy my house, I didn't find out until I was at settlement that I didn't qualify for certain mortgages, and my wife and I were thrown into a 100% interest only mortgage for 10 years. And we were told, you'll be fine, just refinance in 2 years. Well, those of us who are old enough, 2008 hits, and we know what that brought. Housing market tanks, the economy crashes, and now we're upside down. 75,000 on a house, can't refinance. And here I am making $32,000 a year as an athletic trainer. So what do? I do what most of us start to do in this profession, and that is I look for new job opportunities. I get involved in a startup company, and I didn't know operating agreements, buy-sell agreements, and the risk involved. All I knew is I was going from $32,000 to making $50,000, building high school athletic training contracts, supervising those athletic trainers. So I thought, this is great. Well, it was great until the business owner stops paying my paycheck, and in the agreements and all that, now I'm out of income for almost 3 months and trying to pay my own staff. So another financial setback. I take that contract, I sell it off. I become a physician extender, and I work as a physician extender, become an athletic director, get my life back on track financially. And now we fast forward to 2015, and I'm working in the high school, get a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I pick up, and here's a law firm, and a physician that I worked for 2009 to 2012 was being named in a lawsuit for a patient that died. And here I am, professional liability. I wasn't really practicing as an athletic trainer, so I let my professional liability lapse, and I had no idea what I was exposing myself and my family to. Luckily on that front, documentation saved me. I was removed from the case. So there was a silver lining there that athletic training did teach me something that I applied. But in all of these settings that I worked for, I looked around, and in the school setting, financial advisors would come in, but they would only talk about just the retirement planning. And it wasn't until I was working as a physician extender and I saw physicians and I saw the residents were getting education, where people were coming in and going through detailed financial planning for these physicians in residency. And I'm like, why aren't we getting that as athletic trainers? And that led me into the career path of financial planning. And again, I don't know everything, kind of alluding to what you were saying earlier. I don't know everything there is about finances, but I have a team of specialists around me that do.
Thanks for the story, man. I actually didn't know all of those steps along your journey, but those journey steps are important really for the community that we're building within Innovate AT, because there are athletic trainers that are trying to accomplish each one of those steps that are community members. So for the listeners, really reach out to Matt, because he has the personal story that might help you goals moving forward, ranging from I'm working at a high school, I'm trying to figure out what to do with my career, to I'm starting a business and I have a startup, to hey, now I have a group of people working with me and how can I protect them and myself. So once again, I appreciate that story. What success / stories have you had when you've been working with some of these athletic trainers across the country?
Yeah, I mean, what's awesome is, you know, when you look at financial planning, it's really individual specific. There's a lot of information out there that is to the masses, but it's like treating an athlete where it really comes down to personal goals, personal concerns, and you're not going to treat a football player who has a sprained ankle the same way a field hockey player or a gymnast. And it has to be really customized to them. And most recently, I mean, the coronavirus has affected us all. And it's part of, it's actually stage 3 of my planning process. It's life event planning. And, you know, the weird part with the coronavirus is it's truly affected us all when it comes to life events. But I have clients that I met a year ago, and when I've reached back out to them this time to say, hey, how are you doing? I'm just checking in. How are we doing financially? They're like, because of your planning, Matt, I saved up. I had 6 months of savings here. So yes, I'm getting furloughed right now, or I'm getting laid off. But you know what? I have that cash reserve for myself that I'm going to be able to stay on track, still do what I need to be doing. And, you know, being in this field, it's those type of stories where it's, okay, I know what we're doing is right. And I also understand the complexities of an athletic trainer. I mean, we complain we don't make enough. I try to educate my athletic trainers, clients, that we have to diversify our revenue. And it's the one beauty of the career field is we have the ability to do per diem work. We have the ability to write content. We have the ability to join Innovate AT and Wave On and make extra revenue for ourselves with our training and our background, that if we put all of our eggs in one basket, it can really backfire in the long run. And it's the same with your finances. If you put everything into your 401k, well, you can't touch that money to 59.5, or you can, but you might have to pay taxes and penalties on it. So let's diversify financially, but let's also diversify our revenue stream.
No, you brought up some really good points. And one item that I want you to touch on a little bit more is you talked about the coronavirus as part 3 of your process. Give the community a little bit more information about what your process is so they understand how they will work with you to really create this plan for the future.
Yeah. So step 1 is it's just a conversation like we're having here today. I tell my story, you tell your story, and we see what our goals and our concerns are. Step 2 is really gathering all the data, making sure that you're protecting your todays, that everything that you've worked for, that no matter what life throws at you, you're protected and that you don't have significant financial setbacks. Once we establish that and we look at your cash flow and making you a world-class saver, we then do life event planning. And life event planning, it could be great, great moments in our life, buying your first house, starting a family, starting your own business. But it could also, on the flip side, be the bad life events. It could be a death, a disability, an illness that comes along, a job layoff. So none of us have the magic 8 ball. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone 5 years, 10 years down the road. But we have to start taking small steps to be prepared. And the Athletic Trainers, it's an emergency action plan, right? We put these plans into place. Are we always going to use them? No. But is it crucial that we have them when the time arises? Yeah.
So yeah, I like how you're looking at it from an emergency action plan we have in place. But I really appreciate our relationship because what we're exposing within Innovate AT is there are thousands of athletic trainers that value their skill set. They value the people they work with, but they want a little bit more autonomy and they want to be in control of their schedule, and or they might want to diversify like you're mentioning. So the reason our partnership with Matt and IPG is so valuable is if you're one of those athletic trainers that says, I love working at the high school, I love working at the college or pro team, I might even love working in the clinic, wherever you work, but I want to diversify. By talking with Matt, you can start to create the strategy to financially prepare yourself for when you have either a side business or it becomes your only business that you're working in, instead of just taking the leap and trying to figure it out as you go. Working with Matt early will really help you prepare to have a successful business, and he can financially get you set up. And then between he and I, there's a lot of other resources that we can bring to the table to help you have a successful, safe business model. Any other thoughts about that?
No, and it's going back. I mean, I'm still an athletic trainer. I still practice. I do fitting for durable medical equipment. And again, it's just revenue. It's another revenue stream, but it's what I enjoy doing, and it's the same with athletic training. We all have passions. I mean, there's part of every job that we like and there's parts that we don't like, but at the end of the day, it's what opportunities, what other value add that you can bring to people and still make that impact. As athletic trainers, we want to make an impact in our communities and in our patients' lives, clients' lives, because we feel we can make a difference. But there's a lot of ways to do it. And, we have to think outside the box. Adam, you and I have had multiple conversations around this, but I've sat in the school board meetings. I've sat in corporate management companies with looking at the finances and how can we compensate athletic trainers more. Unfortunately, there's limits. The budget is what the budget is. No joke. I just came across a job posting for the physician I worked for in 2009. It's when I started there. So 11 years we're going. And that job posting came back up. Same doc, same practice, same starting salary for the athletic trainer.
Yep.
It didn't even keep up with inflation.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So we can't. There's stuff that we can't control. But taking on initiatives, thinking outside the box, and creating opportunity for ourselves, we can control that. We can control our own activity.
And just for maybe there's new listeners, maybe there's people that haven't talked to me personally, and they are still kind of questioning, what is this Innovate AT thing? Our whole purpose is to create opportunities for you, the individual, to be successful. So everything Matt and I are talking about is allowing you to be in the driver's seat, to be in control of your destiny. If we sit back and we expect associations or employers or alma maters to do it for us, they're too big of ships to focus on us individually. So what we're doing is putting tools and resources in place for you to be successful, and you have the ATC credential. So we're really focused on the professional, giving you all these opportunities to reach your goals that you desire for your future, rather than just focusing on the profession at large. And even at our Tulsa summit, I presented the idea, and I'm following mentors in my place, that it's your name that you need to be representing in the community. It's not identifying yourself as an athletic trainer. Because unfortunately, what Matt and I are talking about is athletic training is kind of limited. There's not a lot of ceiling. It's not a revenue generator, and everyone else holds the keys to our future. What Matt and I are saying is you are the front runner, and then the ATC is after your name. So that's just a really big focal point of what we're doing within Innovate AT. And once again, right, this might not be for you, but if you want to look for what can I do in my future and how can I take my personal professional career to the next level, talk to Matt, start the strategy, save $5 a month now on a life insurance policy, and then it turns into 20, and then it turns into 100. And in 20 years, you have a really nice, comfortable, opportunity that you didn't think was possible. So with that, Matt, is there any final information, maybe how they contact you? And then if there's any last minute tidbits with, how the world has been completely changed right now that you want to give them any insight?
Sure. So you can follow us on Facebook. My team's Facebook page is IPG Philly. So you can follow us there. We just put out, and it's just informational content on there. You can also contact me, cell phone number. I think text and a phone call conversation always goes further. And my phone number is 215-595-7132. And be more than happy just to have a conversation. For those of you, this time people don't like to talk about finances because who knows, you might be laid off, may not be working, but it's the perfect time now to start to take action. We just came off Athletic Trainer Awareness Month, and it was healthcare through action. Well, it's the same with your finances. You have to start somewhere, and it often starts just getting organized. Start laying everything out, put a plan in place. You may not be rolling anything out for 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road, but at least you know what steps you need to take next to get to where you want to go. Mm-hmm. So it starts with a conversation.
Yep. And the last thing I'll say, to Matt's point, everyone is home right now. So most people, I'm not saying everyone, but most people have the time to talk to Matt to start this plan. If you're working, awesome. If you're on the front lines of the coronavirus, we understand. But if you're home because you are furloughed, because you have been laid off until the world goes back to normal, or if sports are not in session, so you don't have anything to cover or work, definitely reach out to Matt. He's a great resource. Thanks for being part of Innovate AT. Don't forget to join the community through the end of June. There's no fees. We want you guys to really continue to get access to this type of rich content and rich resources so we can move you forward. So with that, have a good day, a good week, a good month. Let's all charge through this, and we'll make it out stronger than ever before. So Matt, thanks for your time, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Adam.